All right, good morning, everybody, and very happy Chamishos of beshvat. Good gebenched your, get gebenched you. It's a very special day today. Is Chamishos of beshvat, and it's interesting. I made a little tish last night. Usually, I do the tish during the day, but today, Mirz Hashem, my plan is I'll be attending the tish by my dear friend in that Werner Rebbe Shlit in Bloomingburg. Anybody who's in the area, it seems it should be open to the public. It's advertised on Twitter. It's scheduled for 4 o'clock, but I'm assuming that's going to be a Hasidish at 4 o'clock. Probably get to Bloomingburg around 4:30 anyway. So I'll stop in for a few minutes in Chab Shrayim from the Rebbe. I'm a very big chassid of the Werner Rebbe from Bloomingburg. It's a very chashuv man, and it's a big schia that we have someone like him in Sullivan County, in the greater Sullivan County community. And I thought first of all, I experimented last night with something I never did before, or at least not in a long time. I tried it before, so it's wrong to say I never did before, because I remember Shana Rabbah, I did a live show on YouTube, and before that I used to all the time use Ustream for live streaming. YouTube didn't allow that at the time, so now everything is centralized in YouTube. We can question the wisdom behind putting all our eggs in one basket, but it is what it is. I've been watching a lot of videos about now with the new YouTube rules about you have to get 4,000 hours of views, which I misunderstood, because I looked at my statistics and I see, well, I have 4,000 minutes in a week, so I was like, but I didn't realize, no, it's 4,000 hours, not 4,000 minutes. Now 4,000 minutes in a week is very close to 4,000 hours in the year, because it's 52 weeks in a year and 60 minutes in an hour, so 52 is pretty close to 60, close but no cigar. However, we know YouTube, the growth on YouTube goes exponentially, and I found people who, you wouldn't think are going to be, and YouTube probably assumes are not like my real subscribers, quote unquote, and they actually participated in last night's live show, and I really appreciate that. And it really shows that, as much as people will put down the sub for sub category and so forth, the fact of the matter is, many things that I have subscribed to in these sub for sub programs, I myself enjoy and am happy to have seen. So it's, the fact of the matter is, when you work that way, then it's not sub for sub. It's actually being part of the community. So I'm very thankful to those who did participate last night in the live stream, and with just a small handful of people watching, but every one of them is important, and I really appreciate it. And different people popping in and out, staying for the average, they said, was about 11 minutes, so that's pretty good. And I racked up there 4 hours of viewing time actively, and then of course passively there'll be more view time generated from this video now that it's on YouTube. So I saw 4 hours of view times. I just got to do 999 more of those. So if I just do three live shows a day, 3 2-hour-long live shows a day, I'll be good. And then I realized, well, that's just for the year. I have, for this year, I'm about 150 hours short, give or take, of my goal of 400 hours. And is that possible to do this month? To do another 100 hours, let's say, within the next 20 days or so. The 100-hour challenge. And if I do a lot of live streams, maybe it will work. Maybe, I'm thinking maybe to do Shalashudas again like I used to. I'll see if maybe, what I used to do is that since I would run Shabbos late after the Zman, we would do Shalashudas. Someone else would turn on the camera while I was saying Shalashudas Torah. And that used to be pretty popular when I did that on Ustream, I know. And I have to figure out exactly how to do it. When I had Usher Meza, he was a big help, especially he ended Shabbos much earlier. I don't have such a good Gaba like Rabbi Meza. My wife ends at Rabbeinu Tam, and I usually go a little bit later, so maybe that could be a way we could do that. Does anybody have interest in that? A live stream of Shalashudas. We'd have to share it. There's a lot of complexity in making it happen, but on the other hand, or maybe a live stream Lava Malka. If we do a live stream Lava Malka every week, I don't want to step on Rabbi Siegel's toes because he does that as well. But I also have to be a little selfish. Maybe I should ask him Rishus because he's a shtickle my Rebbe. I don't want, and to be the Sarder Rebbe, it's in his place. I don't want to step on his toes. But I have my own Hasidim, so is that something that's interesting? Now, I know some people are in different time zones, so if they're ending Shabbos later, so the Shalashudas live stream obviously is out of the question. What about the Lava Malka? We can discuss, what to do with that. But what do you all think about that? And I really appreciate the interaction last night of doing the live stream. It was really quite wonderful. Even though I had things that I had prepared Divrei Torah to say, and I appreciate. There's one of these YouTube educators who. He's from England, and I don't remember his name right offhand. Evan something, or Steven, but I did not only subscribe, but also hit the bell for him. By the way, if you want to get all of my videos, if you're interested in what I have to say and you find it interesting, hit the bell, and you'll get more of my videos, and I'll get more watches, and you'll get to enjoy more. I don't mean to be selfish for me, but I mean to be, if people are actually enjoying what I have to offer, please hit, not only subscribe, but hit the bell so you get all of my videos. So, and it doesn't mean you have to watch them, don't worry, it's not the end of the world, but it is what it is. So I'm excited to be doing these live shows. I'll be honest with you, me personally, my experience with this, I've been in a pretty low spiritual state, and also my health has been low. Hasidic Sfarim, the Baal Shem Tov says that the physical health and the spiritual health are linked. That's part of the mental health as well. It's part of the whole holistic medicine approach, Edgar Casey type of idea. And you see the Baal Shem Tov said it long before Casey. And I see it really because I've been feeling kind of low spiritually. I've been in kind of a low situation, not really embracing everything that Shovavim is all about. And I was kind of depressed. And I said to myself, I'm going to make this little, maybe 20-minute Tu beshvat tish. At first, my plan was to make the Tu beshvat tish today because the minhag by most of the Chassidish Hoifen is to make the tish during the day. Although once in a while you see rebbes, especially when it's early in the season and people are still at work. Sometimes the Nikolashberger Rebbe is has made the Tu beshvat tish at night, and a lot of Chassidish Galite with their families, they tend to do the Tu beshvat tish at night, privately for their own families. Just because it's practical, because people are still at work and it's a short day. I guess in the southern hemisphere it's a lot easier if you live in Australia or South Africa. Australia has a nice Hasidic community. We're so blessed where my children go to school. The boys' school, they have a manal, and he's Australian. And he's such a gerotniger man. Not only, he's an heir like a Hasidic man and a Talmud Chacham, but he has so much understanding and knowledge and wisdom of secular education, studies, and so forth. He's and brilliantly speaks better than I do English, and I'm so impressed with him. It's such a blessing to have a man like him. I'll be honest, I wish that my kids could grow up like that. It's almost kedai to move to Australia. You can have a Hasidic environment with a strong English background. It's kind of the best of both worlds, but it works very well in America. But I'm also thankful that we live in America where it's not imposed by the state to have such things, that people who do want to be more extreme have the freedom to do so. And religious freedom, I think, is a very important thing, even to those who are to the right of me. I mean, in many ways, the whole argument right now with groups like Yafed and which are trying to destroy the religious freedom, groups like Pearls, they're trying to preserve religious freedom. It's very similar to other arguments of religious freedom that are going on in America today and going on before the Supreme Court and so forth. And I'm interested to see how these things are going to come out in the Supreme Court. But the ideals of America are really beautiful, that we have, what Jefferson really meant when he spoke of the wall of separation between church and state. Not how it's been interpreted in the 20th century, but Jefferson was actually, we know, talking to the Danbury Baptist Church, that was worried that to have such a heretic, an apostate like Thomas Jefferson in the White House, they thought, we as religious people are going to be in trouble. And that's really how it was under Obama. And Jefferson was a true, Democratic Republican. And not, that's why Jefferson was scared to death of Andrew Jackson. He absolutely hated Jackson, and the Jacksonian approach, which is the modern Democrat Party, still to this day, as much as, and that's why I really say that Trump is a particular Democrat, because of his tremendous respect for Jackson, his tremendous admiration for Jackson. And Jackson was really a very horrible person, a horrible president, even though maybe, he was, I don't know if this is a foul word, but a bad A, that's who he was, and that's, maybe why the donkey was was his, it represented him very much. He was a donkey type of person, he kept an alligator in the White House. bathtub is a patent or something. He was a pretty wild guy, Jackson. He was an interesting person. It's a fascinating piece of American history, his presidency, and he was well liked. He was beloved, and there certainly are great things you can learn even from such a horrible president as Andrew Jackson. I'm getting off track here, but the point that Jefferson was making when he said that there's a wall of separation between church and state, he meant to say that the churches are protected from the state, that no matter how secular the government is, the churches have their right to be the churches and to be totally independent and not be dictated by the state the way it happens in other countries, the way that Israel, for example, which took the old British approach. England has got to be a little bit more open-minded, but still, England is not Jeffersonian in its approach to religious freedom. And that's one thing that I'm very happy with how things are going in America, that we do have this Jeffersonian approach to religious freedom. And it seems that, thankfully, President Trump is leaning toward that way, because he's not a religious zealot, but he's here to protect. He took an oath to protect the Constitution from all enemies, foreign and domestic. And he's here to protect our constitutional freedoms of religious freedom. And that being said, I want to talk about a little bit about the State of the Union. Last night, for some reason, I thought last night was the eclipse and tonight was the State of the Union. And then I found out, I went to see the eclipse, I didn't see it, so I'm pretty sure it's tonight. But the State of the Union, I know it was last night. I'm kind of happy I didn't know at the time, because then I probably would not have made that tish that I made last night, which really helped recharge my batteries spiritually. I feel so good today. And I thank all the people who participated once again. It really, really brought so much joy and spiritual depth back into my life. It really, really cheered me up a lot, because I was kind of in a dark place. And it's a wonderful thing. Now, but I did begin to watch the State of the Union last night. I watched about the first half hour of it. As I understand, it's about an hour and 20 minutes long altogether. So I'm excited by it. I really, before I started watching it, I started reading the comments on Twitter from Glenn Beck and from Mark Levin, who are two of the people on talk radio that I really would say I have the most respect for, because they are both brilliant intellectual scholars. They're both scholars. Maybe Levin is a bit more of an intellectual in a sense than Glenn Beck is, but Glenn Beck is like a guy like me that, as how I feel like he's growing and learning, and I just feel a tremendous respect for Glenn Beck. I see him almost as a prophetic voice in the wilderness, is how I always describe him personally. And I'm just so amazed by this man who turned his life around and really is a tremendous spiritual powerhouse. Even though, of course, I disagree with his theology, although I don't know how much of the theology of the Mormon Church he actually buys into, and how much he's just there for the culture, because Mormonism has a very beautiful culture, even though they have a very strange theology, because it's obvious that he doesn't really buy into the theology by virtue of the fact that he says that he wants his kids to find their own religion. Maybe, I don't know. But the culture it's a very beautiful culture, and it's amazing how a culture was developed so quickly. And such a new religion has such a rich, beautiful culture. The State of the Union, what I saw of it, was incredible. Was absolutely amazing. Absolutely amazing. It was and I really agree with everything that people like both Mark Levin and Glenn Beck, both of whom are not, Glenn Beck has been very negative about the president, which is healthy and good. And Mark Levin always says he's not a pom-pom boy, he's not a cheerleader for the president, but he supports him, and Glenn Beck also says he supports him now that he's president, even though he didn't really want him to be the president. And like both of them, I personally would have much rather seen Ted Cruz be president, personally, but I'm very happy that Donald Trump is president. And last night was the reason why, because here we saw how incredibly moderate he is. And, Glenn Beck spoke about this. This is the man who could bring America together. And we see, they always spoke about the Republicans being obstructionists. Here we see the Democrats are like obstructionists. Like, whoa, this is like, who said this? Was it Mike Pence who said this? No, it was Glenn Beck who said this. Glenn Beck said this is like, and I'm not a Zionist, but he's right with what he's saying here. Arafat was offered everything, remember? And he said no. Like he was what was the guy's name? The guy who got what he deserved, Rabin. He should have gotten 20 times of that, because how many people he killed, how many Jews he killed. Russia, Marusha. But Rabin was offering, and I think Barack also, all of them, they were offering Arafat everything he wanted, maybe like 99% of what he wanted, and he said no. And like right now the Democrats are just being Arafat, because here Donald Trump is giving them everything on a silver platter, and they're like, oh no, not with you, Donald, not with you. And it's just like, it's true that Arafat was really an anti-Semite. We know that. Like he had no intention of making peace with Jews. Just the fact that we have theological difference. All right, it's time to go. It's neither here nor there. It doesn't change the fact of how horribly evil Arafat was. Thank you for watching. God bless. Please like, share, and subscribe. Comment, and all the best. Take care.